Hi all, my name is Malika and today we're having Andy Jim, a CMO of Array, which is a specialized web and Android application for optimal network damage and maintenance management. Jim also provides advisory for Web3 projects on early stages. He likes motorbikes and traveling, and he's from London. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, sounds about right. Thank you so much. Thanks for meeting with me.
Yeah, how are you?
Great, thanks.
Okay, I will start with my questions. For how long are you interested in crypto? And how did you first become interested in crypto?
Yeah, I was kind of familiar with crypto back in 2017 when I was living in Cyprus. One of my colleagues, my colleague, he was heavily into Bitcoin at the time. He was very excited by the concept of Bitcoin. So naturally, we were having kind of these conversations from then onwards. So even from then, I was very much like curious about it. So it became a part of my friends are working in tech, in traditional Web2 technology. So a lot of my friends have already been working in security and in technology services. So a lot of my conversations was about technology. So naturally, Bitcoin was always up in the conversation, and then Ethereum kind of boomed, and then so that became part of my conversations. And it just became a conversation among my friends, and naturally, just because we were all kind of fascinated by it. I was working in tech, in finance as well. I've got friends who've been working in finance, and just in general, we've always had these conversations. But I kind of started working in it and started earning a salary from it about just over 2 years ago when I was invited to join like a metaverse project. This was during COVID, so a lot of like this Second Life, artificial reality type metaverse projects started kind of booming. So I joined as marketing, just kind of generating videos for them, coming up with marketing strategies, giving them advice. And I started kind of doing that part-time whilst I was still an English teacher. So I was still an English teacher. So I was doing full-time work as an English teacher and teaching my own students privately. I've always been entrepreneurial. So I've always been multi-job person. I've always had at least 2 jobs, 3 jobs in my life, so at a time. So it's very common for me to have different projects running. And then over the 2 years, naturally, word of mouth. I don't actively search for projects. I feel that it's all about, as someone in my position, we get the luxury of projects coming to us, and we kind of, because of the way that I do my Twitter Spaces and the sort of AMAs and talk shows on YouTube. I also do some here in London. I've been doing them in Asia as well. So I have colleagues in the space and I attend their shows, people doing their own YouTube channels regularly. So I kind of built a bit of a name for myself in the marketing and spoken and visuals. So I kind of had projects come to me with, okay, look, man, we've got this. What do we need? How do we grow it? So naturally, I'd give them advice and build on it. And then they would hire me as a full-on advisor. And then eventually, early this year, in the last year, I was invited to join Array as head of marketing. It's an elite-driven project. So we've culminated 10 elites from around the world. These are heavily people who have a history with massive blockchain projects, large-scale projects, Web2 and Web3. So they've invited me on as head of marketing, and we've been working together ever since. And it's really hard work, very different to my other projects. Just yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's interesting, and yeah, you said that it's a hard work. Is it like that different to work with Web3 projects comparing to like normal?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in project management since I came out, like soon after uni. So once I kind of finished uni, I worked in a sales estate agency. So I was always a negotiator. I was always a communicator. So I did that for 2 years. And then after that, I became project manager. Mm-hmm. So from then on, I've always worked on several different types of projects, whether in Web2 and in Web3. So naturally, I understand that there's always the process and there is a flow to any project. And but it's very different. Yeah, of course. I mean, because it's all new technology and it's new ideas.
Yeah, but do you like it more?
Yeah, more exciting at least.
Yeah,
because you get involved in some very profound ideas, And the conversations you can have with people can be very deep. We can get to the bottom line, solve problems, and I love solving problems. I like seeing a puzzle or a complication, and I love fixing them.
Yeah, totally agree. And what I like personally, it's like that people in Web3, they all have like different backgrounds and they're all super different and interesting. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
It's a cool industry. Okay.
For sure.
What are the benefits of Web3 technology compared to traditional web technology?
Well, between the two, I mean, naturally, we're looking for a more decentralized environment. We are looking for independence. We want to have financial independence. We want financial control. We want our assets to belong to us. And, we don't want fractional lending. I mean, I've always believed in the need for both. There is a need for Web2 traditional systems. There's a purpose for it. And Web3 is my idea of patching up where Web2 goes wrong. So for one, the fact that we have control over our assets is also a big plus. The fact that the Web3 community is extremely innovative. They are constantly coming up with new ideas, new things to add on, and they're getting more creative in solving problems. And with this stage of humanity, it's very important that we are being a bit more creative in solving problems. Web2 is very closed off and independent of each other. When you kind of see different Web2 projects, they're very closed off. They don't really have a language that can connect them. They tend to kind of isolate themselves. So at least with Web3, because of the way that chains are built and bridges are built, it kind of helps with us being able to kind of go through with different technologies and meeting with different people. So the interoperability is a lot better, for sure.
Yeah, totally agree. And what do you think about like the biggest challenges you faced when working with Web3 projects?
The biggest thing that people do is this is going to sound a bit counter to what I just said about innovation, but one of the things that projects don't do is focus on the basics. They really lose track of building the foundations properly. So they really lose track with making sure that, yeah, it's good to have innovative ideas and constantly creating projects that's new and fresh, but are the basics done first? Have you built the foundation? Have you made sure that that's solid? Have you gone through the process that you have to go through? If not, then down the line, you're going to run into issues. And it might not seem that way because of how volatile the market is, but a lot of projects, they will run into problems later on, just because they haven't built properly from the start. Yeah, so that's, I think, the biggest challenge. Like, I wouldn't call it a mistake, but it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because some projects say, or maybe they see it like easier, and it's still so fresh and so new that from the beginning they
not
just
easy.
but it's
but it's not exactly. But they think that they go in with this like very naive mindset. I mean, a lot of people in Web3 are quite young, like the young people, they're excited, they got great ideas, and that's the best thing is that Web3 is sort of like a really good environment for people in their early 20s who are the idea people of every century. It's the people in their early 20s. This is the time for ideas. When we get older, we lose ideas, So Web3 it's a great channel for us to get like fresh ideas from an excited community. And this is why community-driven projects are doing so well, because they're really opening the door for 20-year-olds to earn a bit of money. Which they can't do maybe in their countries. They just can't earn a bit of money at 20, because 20 to 25, they're like, most people struggle to hire them. So the Web3 kind of gives those people in that age bracket an opportunity to make it like a side hustle for themselves, so they can live a decent lifestyle.
Yeah, that's right. And and people on their 50 in the industry, they're like dinosaurs. But still they're like involved and very and fit. And
right.
when I just started, it was like curious. It was surprisingly that all these people like my parents' age, and they like involved in these communities. They use Discord and Telegram and Twitter and everything.
exactly.
Yeah, maybe we should like cut it off from the interview. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't nice from my side. Okay, I'll go with my next question. What do you think? What are some common misconceptions about crypto?
That it's trying to replace. I think there's a misconception, is that it's like people are saying it's like we're replacing decentralized finance with centralized finance. We're replacing Web3 with Web2.
Are they?
We're replacing, but we're not. We're not replacing. And I think that's the misconception. People think that like you have to take something and then convert it to Web3 and then that's the job. You know what I mean? I think that's a misconception on both ends, is that people have this idea that Bitcoin is here to replace money or it's here to replace a currency. No, it's not. It just has a different use case to certain things. And I think that Web3 it has a place in the world as much as Web2 in that way, is that it's not a replacement service. You're not taking your business and taking your idea and then it's like a barber shop or a florist or a salon. We're not taking these and turning them into Web3 projects. We're just helping them go into the digital world and into the Web3 world. That's what Web3 is. It's a sort of pathway into the digital world and the complexity of the digital world. It's not a replacement service. And I think that's kind of a misconception. People think that Bitcoin is here to replace this, Ethereum is here to replace Bitcoin, Shiba is here to replace Dogecoin. It's a constant nice idea of like something has to replace something, when we should see it more as like, how are we going to make a cohesive system?
Yeah. And what about AI?
Yeah, I mean, AI is brilliant. It's brilliant. It's just going to change everything. I mean, I feel bad for the artists, but I've used Midjourney and I've used some of the other AI platforms on like Canva and other services, and I think it's great. I think it's not going to solve all your problems, but it does take a lot of the tediousness out of it, especially in trading. Because I've been using like algorithmic trading for years now, like trading bots, but obviously it was a lot harder back in the day to get decent trading bots and platforms to use automated market making, so AMM. So essentially AI is kind of creating a sort of a more convenient system, because it does gather information to help with trading strategies if people know how to use it. So, and the fact that it's all kind of open source is great, and the user interfaces are great. And I mean, do I think it's going to have as big impact as everyone is saying it is? Who knows? Humans are very adaptable. We don't notice massive changes. I mean, did we notice that the TVs were in every home at some point? It just kind of happened over time. And I think AI is the same element, is that it's going to integrate into our lives in hopefully a natural way. I think it will be a natural way, because I don't think that technology is not natural. Like people say, again, replacement ideology, is I don't think it's because we've created it. Humans, we created it, you know?
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant response, really. Brilliant.
It's just an idea.
Yeah, but it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Andy, what excites you most about the future of Web3 technology?
Just being able to communicate with so many different people. I love it. Like, that's why I'm a traveler. You know, I love traveling. I always get itchy feet. I'm back home in London now, but like even my mum knows, like I'm not gonna be here for long. You know, I get itchy feet. I'm always looking for the next step and looking for the next place to go and next group of people, because that's where opportunities come from. Nice. For me personally.
Yeah. Where are you going next?
Where am I going next? Well, I fly to Vietnam in a couple of weeks to reconnect with the team. I'm gonna go spend a week with them. After that, I'll be looking at countries like Turkey. I've been invited to Turkey by some Web3 teams, also a development team in Bali. So I'll have to keep an eye on those projects there. So I'll probably have to fly there regularly. The team for Array also wants to fly to Japan afterwards. So I'll have to spend some time in Japan for sure. And we'll just see. I'll just follow the projects really. My goal is to have the ability to kind of go and spend time with projects and just kind of make sure that in person rather than just over the phone.
Okay, Andy, what could you say to someone who is new to the world of crypto? Which advice would you have for them?
Write a list of things that you want to get from crypto. Like write it down. Like just point, what do you want? Like a lot of people go in and sure you want to make money, but that motivation changes after a while. I mean, I'm not saying people shouldn't want to make money. That's fine. Good for you. And that's obviously that's kind of why we do what we do these days. You know, we have it's part of this, it's part of the human culture. So whatever. So I think like for young people, it's about just kind of sitting down and just asking themselves firstly, what do they want? Like, what do they want to gain from this? What is their what do they beyond money and beyond financial only financial freedom, just what else are you looking for? I mean, if you're looking for attention, if you're looking for respect, if you're looking for a home, let's say that's on your list, you want to put down a nice deposit for a house or completely pay off a house, that's great. If you want a home to build for yourself, if you want to create an awesome application, or if you want to create a fun game or an interest in DeFi protocol or DeFi, you know, so, you know, or you want to be a problem solver and you want to be somebody trusted, you want to be somebody that people phone and rely on. These are cool. I don't know, man. Everyone has their own motivations for why they want to go into Web3. So I think just kind of listing it out and having that with you is a good way to kind of remind yourself and what you want. Because it's very easy to get lost in it because it's a very complex environment. There is so many different things going on. So having a sort of stable, real point of view for yourself is very important. Stay true to yourself in the process. And dollar cost averaging. That's also, if you want to make money, just dollar cost average. Take 5-10% of your income each month, each week, and just invest it into a platform that you like.
It's a great advice, really, not only for those who want to start it, like involve themselves in crypto, but in everything. It works with everything. Yeah, just make it clear in your head. And Andy, what was in your list?
I wanted to travel the world. You know, I wanted to be an international person. I wanted to be someone like that. You know, so people look at me, they see, okay, he's an adventurer. That was what I was going for. And also I wanted financial freedom. Damn right. Yeah, of course I put that down. Yeah.
And do you make such lists for any other areas of your life? No, not really.
No, I mean, I do it like for every project I work on, for sure. Okay. So it's a new tactic for me. This is not some sort of older knowledge. This is it's something I've been using only recently. So that's why I think it's good advice, because it's kind of fresh in my mind. Yeah, no, it's I kind of do it with every project I work on. Like, what do I want from this project? Because, you know, it's good that I'm giving my services for these projects, but the question's got to be asked, what do I want from them? You know, that's part of it. It's a give and take. So, but that's a personal thing. That's not for them. That's not for them to see. It's a motivation for me, so I can work accordingly to what is my wants. You know, that's what it is.
Nice. What would you respond to the criticism that Web3 technology is too complex and too difficult for the average user?
It's right, for sure. It is. Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, I mean, obviously I work with developers for Rust and Solidity. Obviously, these are kind of the main platforms. I've got people building on obviously BNB and Ethereum chains. So most of the people that I work with are building on these chains. You know, it frustrates me personally, someone who's not technically savvy, someone who's more focused on marketing and business development and advisory. Like, this is where my areas of expertise is communication with people and being able to read a project and look at it in a more critical way, not from a technological standpoint. It's more of a sort of mass market attraction protocol aspect. So one of the, absolutely, that needs to be fixed. But I think this just comes down to good leadership. I think this is where good leadership comes in. A lot of projects do struggle with leadership. They struggle with having the right people on the front side leading the project. They struggle with the knowledge and understanding of the complexities themselves. That's another problem. And I think it's improving though. I mean, I use UK banking systems, and some of them integrate crypto directly. So Web2 banks are using Web3 systems like Polkadot, 1inch. These guys are working well with Web2 banks. And the good thing about these projects is they're sort of learn to earn. aspects. So you learn and you get rewarded in that local currency. So I think this is a very good idea, to pay people to have an understanding of the technology. But no matter what you do, crypto by its nature is complex. So there's not much you can do. It must be confusing. It must be confusing because that's the only way to keep it high security. Is that we cannot let one person control it. We need to have 10 people looking at the same elephant and seeing it from a different perspective will create a different image in their mind of what an elephant is. And I think that's the same thing about cryptology, is that when we look at a block and we look at the smart contracts from different perspectives, they must see something different. This is cryptology in its art, is that they must not see the what is owned as an individual's asset. So it must be complex. So yeah, it makes sense, but it has its benefits.
Have you ever worked on a Web3 project that failed, and what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. A few.
Okay,
Yeah. Obviously one of the earlier projects I worked on was this fitness app. It was one of those, it kind of followed the step in, step out,
like move to earn.
Move to earn, walk to earn movement. I think the biggest mistake is just they don't have long-term goals. They don't have long-term goals. And again, like I said before about building foundations in the beginning, I think the biggest mistake that a lot of companies do is sort of overpromise and underdeliver. I think there's nothing wrong with being straight up. There's this norm now of like making a this false information and misinformation. It's a bit of a habit in these communities now. It's a bit of a habit with these teams, and it's getting a bit too much of a habit. It was all right back in the day because obviously the technology is growing, but a lot of us are kind of getting a bit impatient and a bit frustrated. People who are in the space for a while, obviously new people are kind of the ones that kind of breathe it all in, but the ones who are kind of in it for a while are kind of getting a bit frustrated by it. We're just kind of annoyed by these companies that say they can do these things, and then when it's 6 months later, a year down the line, it's just fugazi, just mystery. So I think like I believe in under promising and over delivering. Like, don't give away too much. Why are you saying you do? Like, don't bother. Like, focus on what it is you are trying to solve. Focus on what it is that you're doing. Focus on being useful. And then once you've got that, then you can focus on over delivering and creating that next step project. New ideas will always come to you. Communities are great, and there's an abundance of them. And there's great resources on the internet now. It's all about utilizing it. So the biggest issue that the previous projects I worked on was this.
And what do you think is the biggest risk facing the Web3 ecosystem in the next few years?
Meme coins. Yeah, internet comedy parody coins. These are going to pose the big risk. I mean, yeah, they're going to really destabilize everything. Yeah, for sure. Like these meme coins, these joke coins, these parody coins, they're going to, so many people are going to lose money on them. So many people are going to lose money. I think like, and all their money is just it's a shame because, instead of being sensible and putting their money in, projects that we know are solid, they have a good history, they have a good future based on all the research that you can possibly do. Instead of putting their money on there, they're going to put them in these joke coins, and they're going to have FOMO. They're going to do emotional betting. They're going to do emotional, decisions. So I think, that's definitely one of the risks is these people just creating comedy coins. But hey, they have their place, I guess, but it's definitely a risk.
Yeah, I also think that it has its place. What's about the bull market?
Well, historically, recessions haven't lasted, like the longest recession was like 13 months. So they're usually anywhere between 8 months and 13, like usually between 8 months to a year. Most recessions haven't lasted much longer than that.
Okay.
Historically as well for humans, like post-pandemics or post sort of worldwide, pandemics and post-worldwide illnesses, they tend to have a period of renaissance and creativity and quite like a growth for humanity. So we just had obviously COVID, which was kind of disastrous for a lot of people. Back in the day, in the 14th century, 15th century, we had the Black Plague around the world. With that also had a massive amount of deaths historically. But soon after, we had Renaissance and creativity and Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. So and obviously we had the rise of technology after World War II. And I think like anytime there's sort of a worldwide calamity, the future seems to people just seem to have this warm-heartedness to other humans. People suffer and they grow, and I think that the next bull market we'll be looking at next year. I don't think it's this year. I think that I don't see 100,000 Bitcoin this year, no, for sure not. I think that this year is about building, so we're going to hear a lot of stories about projects building, growing, marketing and building and developing good products. But I think we're looking at a sort of second quarter of next year as the beginning of like this intense bull run. Most market cycles are around 4 to 5 years, so it would have been, we have Bitcoin halving, many things are going to ignite it, but we're looking at, I think I'm saying second quarter of 2024 leading on to 2025 with a sort of crash and burn in 2026. Then we do all over again.
Okay. Yeah. The last thing for today, would you recommend to buy Bitcoin now?
Yeah, just dollar cost average. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't have to put it all in. Like, the smartest investors break up their investments and diversify. I think it makes sense to regularly buy Bitcoin. Even if it's between 3 to 5% of your income, it makes sense to buy Bitcoin with that. I mean, I'm half and half. I'm quite hard into cryptology and cryptocurrencies. I'm about half and half. I'll say half my assets in crypto, the other half in kind of Web2, like traditional assets. So, I don't want to go too much detail, but yeah, I think dollar cost average in Bitcoin is a very smart move. Choosing a decent percentage of it to do that is the way to go, I would say.
Thank you so much for sharing, Andy. And I think we are good now and we can finish our talk. It was such a pleasure, and thank you so much again, Andy. And have a great evening. And
thank you so much.
We will stay in touch, and I'll text you after we are done. Thank you.
Wonderful.
So much.
Have a good day. Take care now. Bye-bye, Malika. Bye.